Hello. Hi. Good evening, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Sheila. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? So, check this out. I know it's late, kinda. I know y'all probably, a lot of y'all in my TLC business just got off the amazing training that Tammy Price did. It was amazing. Some of y'all don't even know what I'm talking about because y'all aren't in TLC. But I wanted to get on because I didn't really want to. Okay, I know generally when I get on here, I talk about stuff and people ask me questions about TLC and I talk about it. But I'm not really talking about TLC right now. But what I am talking about could help you in TLC or whatever business that you do. So I want to talk to y'all about 2020. This is the first Monday of 2020. It's coming to a close. And I know the core commitments that were shared, one of them was personal development. So that's really what I want to talk about. What I'm finding, guys, is as I'm talking to people that want coaching, that want guidance, that want information on how to be successful, at the end of the day, it really all comes down to your personal development. You have to realize that there are things that each of us have in us that are either helping us win or keeping us from winning. And it's up to us to really want to know what those things are. And so I know that I wouldn't be where I'm at now if it wasn't for personal development. And the reason I say that is because if you say you don't know how you want to approach people, you don't know what to say or what to do, or if you're afraid to post or you're afraid to say this and you're afraid to say that, those are the things that you need to address. Because no matter what you do in life, we can give you the blueprint for whatever you do, whatever business. When you go to a job, the job gives you your job description, tells you what to do. When you're in a business, the business structure gives you the fundamentals of what you need to do to be successful. But at the end of the day, if you don't address and deal with the things that you need to deal with or overcome, it doesn't matter what information we give you, you're never going to win because a lot of it is you standing in your own way. So I want you guys to really, in 2020, it's time to decide that you're going to be better than you were. It's time to really dig into the things that may have held you back in the last decade. What is it that you learned that from the experiences you had? What things happened to you in the last decade that you need to learn from? Because what happens is, as adults, we'll go through things, but we'll just keep moving because we can't. A lot of you guys have children, spouses, you have things to do. You don't have time to have a pity party. You don't have time to sit in the corner and cry. We don't have time to do all that because life still goes on. But that does not mean we don't need to address the things that happen to us. I'm going to say that again. Just because life goes on, that doesn't mean we don't have to address the things that happen. Because what happens is if you don't address the things that happens, you never learn what you need to learn from it. You never get the life lesson that God wanted to teach you from it. You don't get the point of where you needed to overcome or something you needed to allow God to deliver you from. If you don't take the time to evaluate those um, if you don't take the time to evaluate those things, you'll keep being stuck and you wonder why you can't move past certain things. A lot of times we'll look at leaders, we'll watch Coach Stormy's page and we'll watch Boss Lady Meek and we'll watch Natalie Nicole and we'll say, wow, they're so amazing. Why can't I have that confidence? Why can't I have that drive? Why can't I have that ambition? It's not that you can't. Everything that you need is within you right now, but you have to know that they don't have anything different than you have. They just knew how to tap into what's already inside of them. And so in 2020, I want us to learn how to tap into what's inside of us because we all have the potential to be the beasts, to be the success, to be the leaders, to be everything that we want to be. And for you that's in business, if you're not getting the support that you desire, become the leader that you want to see. Whatever you feel like your leader's supposed to be doing for you, you need to do that Because when you become the leader that you want to see, you'll attract the team that you're supposed to have. You'll attract the people that are supposed to support what you're doing. You'll get those people that you feel like it's so hard to find or so hard to get. You'll start attracting them. How you do it is just by learning who you are. If you have to get to the place that you're so ready to be better that you'll go through whatever you have to go through to get there. And when I say that is when you have to look in the mirror and address the things that scare you and address the things that are keeping you back from winning, when you really do that, it's scary because the truth hurts. None of us want to admit that we have envy against people. None of us want to admit that we're jealous of other people. None of us want to admit that we feel less than sometimes. None of us want to admit that we're really looking for acceptance from people in our lives. We're looking for people to give us accolades and to recognize us and to see us and to love us. We don't always want to admit those things, but those are the very things that we need to admit that we feel so that we can learn how to get through them and how to overcome them and how to move past them. And so sometimes, guys, y'all have to take a look in the mirror and say, listen, I know that I want to be better, and I'm willing to go through and do whatever it takes to deal with that. So I'm going to share something with y'all, and you don't necessarily have to do this, but this is what worked for me. Because a lot of times we'll say we want to change, we want to change, we want to change, but we only change our behavior. And when you only change your behavior, it's temporary. When your heart changes, it's permanent. And the only way, God knows when you're ready for your heart to change. God knows when you're ready to be a different person for real, not just act different in situations, because it's just like how, let me give you an example. Let's say, for instance, you generally, if somebody says something smart to you, you say something smart back. So you say, okay, I'm going to work on that. I can't be getting flippant at the mouth all the time. So then what you do is when somebody says something smart to you, you don't say something smart back, but you still think that smart thought. You still think whatever you would say, you just don't say it. What does that mean? That means you're only changing your behavior, but your heart didn't change in that situation because you still feel and think the same way. You're just not expressing it the way you usually express it. And so there's still nothing that's changed but your behavior. And when your behavior changes, it's only temporary. If you change for other people, if other people are telling you something and you change your behavior to accommodate what they want from you or want out of you, but you still think the same, again, it's just a behavior change. That's it. So in 2020, we need to really allow God to change our hearts. So back to what I was saying, this is what worked for me. Because many years I would say, oh my God, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. We say all these cliches, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. God, I really want to change. I'm tired of living like this. I know I deserve better. I know there's more for me out there. But then as soon as things get rough, I retreat back to what I always did. I go back to the way I always thought. I say the things I always say. Then I'm not really ready to change. But one day, I made a decision that I knew I could not live my life the way I was living it anymore. I didn't want to go through the same cycle I was going through of being good for a while. And I know somebody can relate to this, being good for a while. And then something happens to kind of set me back. I get an attitude about something. Then I start lashing out at people. Then I get defensive when somebody wants to help me, when somebody wants to tell me the right thing I need to do. I want to get defensive like they don't know what they're talking about and ain't nothing wrong with me and all of that. But when I decided that I really wanted to change, I asked God, I said, God, whatever it is, exactly, God, clean my heart and change my mind. Psalm 51, renew my heart and a loyal spirit in me. When I was like that, when I really said, okay, I'm really ready to change, I wasn't a huge Bible reader. And, I'm not here to push religion down your throat. Whatever you believe in, that's you. I'm going to tell you what I believe in and what works for me. So when I was really ready to change, I asked God to show me the areas that I needed to work on. And like I said, I wasn't a big Bible reader. I was that person. I would just open the Bible and read wherever it was. And so it can be discouraging because if you're reading the King James Version, you get a thou, dart. I don't know all that stuff. That I can't relate to that. So what I did was when situations would happen, God would show me what I needed to deal with. So if something happened and I had a response, God would drop in my spirit what was triggered in that response. It could be unbelief. It could be jealousy. It could be fear. It could be disappointment, fear of rejection, abandonment, any of those things. So when those words would drop into my spirit, I had a composition book and I would write it down at the top of the page. Whatever that word was: anger, frustration, insecurities, self-worth, not feeling good enough, whatever it was, I would write it at the top of the page. And then I would go back and I would Google scriptures that related to those areas. So, of course, when you Google, you can get a whole list of stuff. So I would get those scriptures and then I would read the ones, and I would pick the ones that stood out to me that I could relate to, that really addressed my situation. And I would put them in the notes in my phone. I have 2 folders in my notes: Jesus and Jesus 1. So I would take those scriptures and I would copy and paste them in my phone. And I would continue to read those scriptures so that I would have something to lean on. And I knew there were those things in the Bible really spoke to what I needed. And then it made me more open to read the Bible. It made me more open to allow God to change me. But that was the first step, because when I did that, just me doing that, me getting that book, me writing that stuff down, me Googling those scriptures and really reading them, when I did that, it was bigger than me. It really showed God that I was serious about him changing my heart. And I'm telling y'all, when I tell y'all this, when he started to change my heart, he would show me things in the spirit of different situations. So instead of me dealing with somebody and getting upset, God would show me why they were responding the way that they were and why I was responding the way that I was. And when I would see things on a deeper level, when I would see why this person is acting like this and responding like this, it helped me deal with them better. It helped me become a better person. And when you decide that you really want to change, the one thing I wanted you to know is you have to celebrate those small victories. So when that situation comes up, and not only do you not snap on that person, but you really don't even have that negative thought, you really just let it go for real. When you do that, congratulate yourself, because nobody sees that but you and God. But that doesn't mean you can't celebrate it. Celebrate your small victories in your growth, but always want to be better. I remember there was a time, especially in this business that we do, we have these amazing leaders that we look up to and that we admire and that we are so excited to be around. But when you look for acceptance from them, when you look for acceptance from anybody, it's really because you don't accept yourself and you want someone else's acceptance to show you how important you are, how valuable you are, how loved you are. That's not true. You're already valuable. You're already loved. You're already accepted. You have to accept yourself first before you think someone else is going to accept you. And a lot of times we put so much weight on someone else's acceptance of us that we'll continue to do things and do works for their acceptance. Even your family, even your parents. I was talking to someone earlier and I shared with them, sometimes we look for acceptance for our parents and it could go 2 ways. Some of us act out in a negative way to get the attention that we desire, or some of us overachieve to get the attention we desire. Because if we keep doing better and we keep going to school and we keep getting good grades and we get a great job and we get this wonderful man and we do all of the things that our parents want us to do, they're going to accept us. That shouldn't matter, because God accepts you as you are. When you were born, God accepted you. Before you were born, God accepted you. That has to be enough. And when that truly is enough for you, that no matter who around you mistreats you, no matter how bad they act, and a lot of times when we look for that acceptance, we get upset when we put things out there and we do things for people and we don't get it reciprocated. But that shouldn't matter, because if you're doing it for a reason, then you're not really doing it out of the goodness of your heart. You're really looking for that affirmation. You're looking for that accolade. You're looking for that pat on the back. You're looking for that good job. That's not where you should do it. Anything that you do for somebody should never be for them to return anything to you. It should be because it's in your heart to do it. And when you do the right thing with the right heart and the right motives, it doesn't matter how the people respond, because you're going to get blessed anyway. I'm going to say that again. When you do something with the right heart and the right motive, not expecting anything in return, no matter how they receive it, or if they do receive it, or if they don't receive it, it doesn't matter. You are going to get blessed anyway. Anyway. Because God sees everything you do, no matter what. Those times that I used to act a certain way and then I don't, Even if nobody sees it, God always sees it. And he's going to honor you in the light for the things that you do in the dark. And so I just, it was really on my heart to talk about this. This is a brand new year. This is a brand new decade. And we have to leave the old us behind. We have to leave the old mindsets, the old thought processes. Listen, I'm 40 years old and I'm never going to be that person that says that's just me. Because if it's not right, it's not right. It's not about that's just me. That's just how I am. If they can't take me for who I am, then no. That's not right. If what you're saying, if you're using that as a reason to give you an excuse to not be who God has called you to be, if you're using that as an excuse to not be the best you possible, it's not right. It ain't about it. That's just me. Thank you. It ain't about that's just me. What is that's just me? That makes no sense. I'm the person, I'm always going to look to be better. I'm always going to want to learn. I'm going to constantly be a student of life, of my business, and of myself. Trust me. I know when I need to get back into my word more. I know when I get off track. You have to be very self-aware in 2020. Not only does your vision have to be clear, but you have to be very, I'll save it for you. I have to be very clear on who I am, where I'm going, and what I'm doing. We have to really be clear on our feelings. You have to be self-aware of where you are, how you feel, and how you're responding to things. You can't walk around and not understand when a bunch of bad stuff keeps happening to you and you keep saying you don't know why. That's not true. There's a reason behind it. You just don't want to accept it. You don't want to see it for what it is. And we have to get into the place that we are so ready to change that it doesn't matter what it looks like to anybody else. It doesn't matter if people don't understand. It doesn't matter if we got to stop caring about other people. Because let me tell you something. At the end of the day, when your bills come in the mail, they're only addressed to you. And you can't pay none of them with anybody's opinions or thoughts about you. When it comes time for you to do things for your family, none of the opinions of other people are going to take care of your family. So we have to get to the place that we're not worried about other people. We have to be our best for us. It's not about so we can look good for other people, so we can shine in this area or shine in that area, or I'll show them they didn't believe in me. I'll show them how much better I am now. I'll show them. Who you gonna show? They not even paying you no mind. You putting all this energy into wanting to show somebody something that's not even checking for you. And that's the truth. We have to check for ourselves. We all naturally want to make the people that care about us and around us happy. But it has to be to a place where it's not people pleasing. It has to be in a place where I want the people that care the most about me and that I care the most about to be happy with me and for us to be in a good space. But I'm not going to base everything I do off of that, because I can't please everybody all the time. There's never going to be a time where everybody around you is going to be extremely happy with life and with you. It's not possible. You're only one person. You can't please everybody all the time. And one thing that I've been really sharing a lot about, even with my success in business, is sometimes we don't realize when we make an investment in ourselves, it unlocks the door for us to help so many people. And we think that we feel selfish if we invest in ourselves. We feel selfish if we want to put ourselves first because there's so many other things we need to be doing. There's so many better priorities that we need to attend to. But listen to me, everybody. If you're not right within yourself, you can't help nobody anyway. Period. If you're not happy with your life, if you're not happy with where you are, you can't help nobody. You are not worthless, but you can't help anybody. So you have to be in a place that you want to do something for you so that you can be everything you need to be to help all of the people around you. There's people that are depending on you right now to become the best version of yourself so that you can lead them to the promised land. You don't know who's watching you. You don't know who you can inspire by being transparent, by sharing your testimony, by sharing your story with people. You don't know who you could be setting free by sharing who you are and not worried about what people think about you. You can't be worried about that. You have to just do what's best for you. You have to take time to invest in yourself and in your personal development. Learn who you are. Learn why you operate the way you operate. When you start to take those deep dives within yourself, you'll understand the things that have been holding you back. There's a lot of things that y'all are dealing with that happened so long ago that they shouldn't still be a part of your life right now, but they are. Because you still have that chip on your shoulder from what somebody did to you 10 years ago, what your mama did to you, what your daddy did to you, what your ex-boyfriend did to you, what your baby daddy did to you. When you hold on to that stuff, you can never move forward. You know, guys, when I was growing up, my dad wasn't really there for me. You know, he would be out of my life for long period, like years and years and years, and then just all of a sudden resurface. But every time he did, I never gave him any trouble. I loved him, made sure he was healthy and good. You know why? Because I had to learn a long time ago that I me being mad at him for not being there was never going to prosper my life. Me being angry with him not being around was not going to make me a better person. So I had to learn to let that go. I had to learn to let it go. And there's a lot of things that, that he could have done differently. I wish he could have done differently, but I can't do anything about that because that's going to be between him and God. All I can do is be who God has called me to be every time he's around me. So it's like we have to learn that no matter what other people do, no matter how other people treat us, we have to be who we're supposed to be all the time. And when we're not, we need to recognize it and we need to address why we're not being who we're supposed to be. Exactly. Healing is in the release. I shared this with somebody earlier, and this is another thing. The book that I talked about earlier, as far as writing down the different things you need to overcome and finding scriptures, that's a wonderful way to get into the Bible, to get deeper into God, for sure. If you don't want to go that deep, if you're not ready for that yet, if there's anybody in your life that you still are holding unforgiveness, bitterness, resentment, anything in your heart, I want you to write them a letter, excuse me, but not a letter to give to them. I want you to write down everything you would say if you could say it to them. And the reason why I say don't give it to them is because when we write things that we want to give to people, we still make it cute because we write it in a way that we want to make sure they receive it or they understand what we're saying. But when you just write it down to just release, it's unfiltered. I'm talking about if you want to cuss them out, if you want to dog them out, if you want to talk about things that you've never even verbalized, I want you to write it all down. Just get it out. Find somewhere quiet and just, whoever that person is, address that letter to them and just write everything that you've always wanted to say, everything that they've ever done that bothered you, everything, anyhow they've treated you. Just write it all down. Write it all down. Write it all down. Write it all down. Even if you burn it when you're finished. Even if you rip it up into shreds. But I'm telling you, you have to be able to get it out because a lot of y'all are walking around with past pain. And you cannot have a bright future with holding on to past pain. When you're full of pain, when you're full of unforgiveness, when you're full of bitterness, when you're full of resentment, God has no room to work in you because you're not giving him nothing to move in. So that's my piece for the night. I just really wanted to share that, guys. This is a brand new decade, and I really want us to all take it seriously. And I'm talking to me like I'm talking to y'all. We have to take this new decade seriously. Seriously, this is a new opportunity for us to change the entire course of our lives. There's a lot going on in the world today, and we don't need to be the problem too. So I encourage you all to be self-aware. Understand the things that you're doing that you need to be fixed. Take action. I told you what I did. I wrote my book with my scriptures. I'm telling you to write a letter if you need to do that. Whatever it is that you need to do, but you have to get it out. If you need to seek counseling, don't be afraid to talk to somebody that has the knowledge and the skill set to help you work through your feelings. Whatever you have to do, but guys, it's time for us to really let go of all of the things that happened in the last decade or even a decade before that we're still holding on to. We really can start this year with a clear vision and a clean slate. So I love you guys, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Have a good night. And I'll save this video.